The Countess of Wessex was pictured comforting Princess Anne yesterday as members of the royal family watched Queen Elizabeth II's coffin arrive in Edinburgh to lie in rest at the Palace of Holyrood House overnight. Sophie, 57, the wife of the Queen's youngest son Prince Edward, 58, was seen placing her hand on the Princess Royal's back in a supportive gesture after the coffin made the journey from Balmoral to the Scottish city. The Queen's children and their spouses, Princess Royal and Vice Admiral Sir Tim Lawrence, Duke of York and the Earl and Countess of Wessex, watched as soldiers from the Royal Regiment of Scotland carried the coffin into the palace. In a touching moment, deference to the monarch was still observed, with the royal women curtsying and the men bowing their heads. Her Majesty did not travel alone during her 180-mile journey. Anne and her husband were in a limousine as part of a procession directly behind her. The Queen will stay at the palace overnight before being moved to St. Giles Cathedral tomorrow afternoon, where earlier a large crowd had gathered to witness the midday proclamation of King Charles as head of state. Yesterday, both Princess Anne and Sophie appeared teary-eyed as they looked at floral tributes to the Queen left at Balmoral, alongside other members of the royal family. Meanwhile, Scottish mourners paid tribute to Her Majesty by lining the route of her coffin procession in their thousands as she left Balmoral for the last time. Silent, somber and respectful, well-wishers gathered beside country roads, bridges and in village and city centres to say goodbye to the woman who was never more at home than when in Scotland. Princess Anne, the Queen's only daughter, was chosen by her mother to accompany the funeral cortege on the 6-hour journey from Balmoral to Edinburgh. The Princess Royal, 72, had a forlorn expression but remained composed as she was driven behind the hearse in a royal Bentley alongside her husband of 30 years, Vice Admiral Sir Timothy Lawrence. Nothing was left to chance in the Queen's funeral arrangements, meaning Her Majesty likely personally requested that her daughter accompany the coffin to the Palace of Holyrood House. Princess Anne will also travel to London with her mother's coffin tomorrow, when it will leave Scotland by air, Buckingham Palace confirmed. Anne is regarded by many as the hardest working member of the royal family, having completed more than 20,000 engagements. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex will remain in the UK ahead of the Queen's funeral and stay for a further 7 days after for the period of royal mourning, according to a spokesperson for the couple. The couple's children, Archie, 2, and Lilibet, 1, reportedly remain at their home in Montecito in the US with their carers and Meghan's mother Doria Ragland. Harry then flew to Scotland solo, arriving too late to say goodbye to his beloved granny. Only King Charles and Princess Anne made it in time to farewell the monarch. Harry and Meghan joined Prince Harry and Kate Middleton this week to view floral tributes that had been placed outside the gates for Her Majesty at Windsor Castle. The couple also took the time to interact with members of the crowd who expressed their condolences to the royals. Following the death of Queen Elizabeth II, Buckingham Palace confirmed, following the death of Her Majesty the Queen, it is His Majesty the King's wish that a period of royal mourning be observed from now until 7 days after the Queen's funeral. The date of the funeral will be confirmed in due course. Royal mourning will be observed by members of the royal family, royal household staff and representatives of the royal household on official duties, together with troops committed to ceremonial duties. According to the source, angry Princess Anne wants to kick Meghan out of the UK after all their cruel treatment of the Queen.